You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Black and White sports fans, it is John Matrix, and I am back with another video, guys. Yesterday, I put up a video, and I was talking about how a few woke athletes, female athletes, were complaining about gender pay gaps in sports, namely Megan Rapinoe and Venus Williams. Megan Rapinoe was complaining at the White House, in case you guys didn't see that video, talking about how she's won championships and she is still paid less than the men. And my point in that video was more people are interested in the men. They bring in the revenue. The women don't. And in the case of tennis, it's only best of 3 instead of best of 5 like it is with the men. So in tennis, women actually pay less. They get paid less because they play less. Okay? So now that brings us to this video here, guys. And we're going to be talking about the NCAA tournament basketball, male and female, from the 2018-2019 season. And that was actually the last full tournament. And the tournament is still going on right now for this year. But however, we know last year the tournament was actually canceled because of the virus. So guys, I'm just going to be straightforward with this. This is just another example of why there's a difference in pay. In the case of the men, they brought in the money. In the case of the women, they lost a lot of money. Okay? So let's dive into this. Men's tourney made $864.6 million last year. Women's lost $2.8 million. You read that correctly, folks. It says here the NCAA Division I men's basketball championship budget for the 2018-2019 season was $28 million, almost twice as much as the women's budget. Information provided by the NCAA to ESPN on Friday shows the men's tournament brought in a total net income of $864.6 million that season, while the women's event lost $2.8 million, the largest loss of any NCAA championship. That is just mind-boggling right there. Mind-boggling. It says the NCAA said its championship budgets are determined and approved each year, but this year's tournament budgets were determined last June, but have been completely changed because of the pandemic, ESPN reports. The NCAA said it won't know the 2021 championship totals until it's over. Of course, that makes sense since it's actually still going on right now. But I think this is mind-boggling stuff here, folks. Mind-boggling. But let's dive even more into the attendance for these games. And before we get to that, let's read this part right here. It says ESPN states it's estimated to cost $14 million to create the men's bubble experience, including COVID testing, and $16 million for the women's bubble. Both men's and women's each pay about $2 million in testing. So this year, the women's budget is actually more than the men's. This is probably not going to be a good sign, for when it comes to the revenue and making money. Okay? The men's tournament budget for the 2018-2019 season was $28 million, while the women's was $14.5 million. Now, I'm going to skip over some of this right here, but this is kind of mind-boggling right here when you look at the attendance here. It says total attendance accounts for some of the disparity, as the men's basketball tournament had 690,000 fans, while the women's tournament had 275,000 fans. That was it. That was it, guys. So as you can see here, there was much more interest in watching the men play than the women play. If this was professional sports, folks, everybody would pretty much agree the men are bringing in the money. Therefore, they should actually make more of the money. I mean, they actually made money. The women, they lost money. They lost money, folks. And it goes on here, the Title IX and everything like that. But Mark Emmert even said that he says, quote, "We must continue to make sure we are doing all we can to support gender equity in sports." But guys, if the women aren't making any money, they're not making any money. It is the men's revenue that is supporting women's sports, supporting the women in the NCAA tournaments. That is the only way that the women would even be able to play. Let's be honest, man. And I don't even think this is really a sexist thing, because the vast majority of people that actually watch women play, guess what? It's actually men, not women. I mean, that's just the facts. That's just the truth right there. Men watch women's sports more than women actually watch women's sports. That's just the way it is, folks. So I'm wondering what a activist athlete like Megan Rapinoe would have to say about this, when it is clear as day it's almost 3 times as many people are going to watch the men play in the NCAA tournament than the women. And since they don't actually have any data right now, since the tournament is still going on right now, chances are, man, it's still not going to be good for the women's numbers this year. I don't really expect them to make a profit, especially, with COVID regulations, limited amount of fans. It's not going to be a good look. I fully expect that the women are probably going to lose even more money. I do expect the men's revenue is going to be down too, but I still think they're going to be able to have a net revenue. I mean, net positive when it comes to the revenue. I really do think that, folks. But man, this is not unexpected. Honestly, folks, I didn't know that the women were actually losing money in the last tournament. But man, I must say, guys, so the woke athletes out there, the woke female athletes out there, instead of trying to make their product better, we know they're going to play the victim card. Guys, there was a time when the NBA, way back in the day, man, was super unpopular. Super unpopular, man. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but the NBA finals in the 1970s were on tape delay because the NBA was not popular. What popularized the NBA was Magic Johnson and Larry Bird coming into the NBA in 1979. And then Jordan came in and the NBA skyrocketed because they had the personalities. So I truly believe, man, that for the NCAA, the WNBA, they need superstars to really, really step up, especially the WNBA, man, because they can't stand on 2 feet without the NBA. They are so dependent on the NBA. If the NBA wasn't supporting the WNBA, that league would have went under probably over 15 years ago. And that's just the facts, guys. But what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of the women's NCAA tournament back in 2019? The last full NCAA tournament lost $2.8 million because nobody cared to watch the women play basketball. Nobody did. But the men, over $865 million. Because when you think of March Madness, man, you do think of the men's tournament. And I'm not saying that the women aren't good. I mean, UConn has been dominant for like 20 years now. Gino Auriemma is a fantastic coach. But still, even with UConn in the championship time and time again, the eyes are still not getting on the NCAA women's tournament. It's just not. And even with the one and done in the men's side, people are still tuning into that. So to all these woke athletes out there, I challenge you, man, think long and hard before you talk about gender pay gap. If your product is not popular, the revenue will not be there. But that's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this, Black and White Sports fans? Let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to Black and White Sports, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.